Let's talk about equestrian red flags, because why not? And no, this video is not about beginners. I'm talking about behaviors that should make you pause, take a step back, or straight up run. If you've been in the horse world long enough, you've definitely seen at least a few of these behaviors, which are red flags, in my opinion. Red flag number 1, when an equestrian is doing something and you ask about, whatever they're doing, and the response is, oh, I've been doing this for 20 years. I know what I'm doing. As if that's an explanation for what they're doing. Because experience without an explanation is not expertise. If someone can't explain why they're doing something, that's a problem, and maybe it's something they shouldn't be doing. Red flag number 2, when an equestrian blames the horse for everything. I've seen this so many times where a horse is misbehaving. Sometimes that is the case, don't get me wrong, but their automatic response to the horse misbehaving is that it's something the horse is doing bad or they're being naughty. When a rider takes no accountability, that's a red flag. Sure, every now and then your horse is going to act up because they're a horse, they're not a robot. So they have thoughts and feelings just like we do. But you shouldn't be blaming your horse every single time for everything. I believe as a rider, you should be taking accountability. As the human in the relationship, I believe the onus is on you, the rider, to communicate effectively with your horse and figure out what's causing this problem, and not just blaming the horse and dismissing it as them being naughty. You've probably come across a few people like this. I know I have. An equestrian or horse person who hates the vet, hates the farrier, doesn't get along with the trainers. Like, you have problems with all of these horse people? All of them? All of them are doing you dirty. Okay. I'm sure it's not you, the common denominator. I understand one bad experience. Sure, if you've had a bad experience with this particular person, that's understandable. But everyone's the problem? I don't think so. I think it might be you. Red flag number 4, when a rider is almost braggadocious about riding through pain, whether it's their pain or their horse's pain. Pain tolerance is not a flex. This mindset gets horses injured and people hospitalized. If your horse is in pain or you're in pain, you need to stop and think what you're doing. You only get one body your entire life. Your horse only has one body its entire life. Pain is the body's way of telling you something's wrong. Fight through it. I don't know why there's sometimes this mentality that you should push through the pain. I think it's really unhealthy. Red flag number 5, saying, oh, that's just how horses are, to excuse possible neglect. Underweight, sore, chronically ill, depressed horses, that's not just horses. That's a problem. Yes, horses are animals, and they will have physical ailments, mental ailments from time to time. But there's a big difference between having a temporary impairment versus excusing chronic issues as just being part of a horse. I think these issues need to be addressed when they are acute so that they don't become chronic. Red flag number 6, an equestrian who refuses to switch up their tack, their training methods, or management. I've come across this where a particular training technique or how this person usually handles horses isn't working for a particular horse, and it's kind of one of those, you don't want to butt in, but you feel like you should say something because you can tell the horse is under duress and the rider is getting there as well, and the horse is just feeding off of it, and it's a bad cycle that you're like, maybe I should say something. And if you do, they're like, I know what I'm doing, or this is how I always do it. I think that's a problem. I don't think at that point, I don't think you're training, I think you're stuck. And treating every horse in every situation with the same technique is not gonna cut it for every horse. I think treating every horse the same is detrimental to them and to the rider. So you gotta be open-minded, be open to new training techniques. What works for one horse might not work for another horse. So be flexible if you can. Oh, red flag number 7. This is one of my favorite. I think it's such a red flag when riders make fun of and criticize other riders for being cautious. The biggest scenario that I see this happen in is about wearing helmets. You know what? If you don't want to wear a helmet when you ride your horse, that's your own prerogative, whatever. But don't make fun of people who want to be safe. Head injuries are very serious. They can be fatal. So why not protect yourself? Or if you choose not to, don't make fun of people who do. That's just silly to me. Calling people soft or scared for just wanting to be safe, I think that's toxic horse culture. We can do better. Red flag number 8, when someone is pushing you to ride when you were uncomfortable, that's a big no-no. Any trainer, instructor, barn buddy that pushes you to do past what you're comfortable with, they don't have your best interests in mind. So set boundaries and don't apologize for them. Red flag number 9, equating the amount of money you spend on your horses to mean your level of horsemanship. Expensive horses, expensive tack, expensive trucks, it does not equal skill. And this one fools a lot of people. Just because you've got the gear doesn't mean you know what you're doing. Similarly, if you have crappy tack or you buy used saddles, no shame in that, that doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. Red flag number 10. Equestrians who every single time they acquire a horse just happens to be a problem horse. That's suspicious. Every horse you've touched, every horse you've interacted with is crazy? I don't know about that. The common denominator is not the horse in these scenarios. I think there can be a lot of pressure on people to train their own horses. It can be seen as a weakness, again, part of toxic horse culture, to tap another trainer and say, hey, can you help me out with this situation? Or to ask for help. That's not a weakness. But some people view it as such, and so they lash out at the horse, and the horse is the problem. So, red flag for me. Red flag number 11, riders and equestrians and horse people who have absolutely zero interest in new research or better practices. The horse world is constantly evolving. Horses are being studied all the time. There are ongoing studies as we speak. And people who refuse to evolve, they get left behind, cause harm. Red flag number 12. Now this may be a little hypocritical because it's kind of what I'm doing right now, but publicly shaming other equestrians. Education does not equal humiliation. If someone is doing something in a way that you think is harmful, there's a way to go about it without calling them out in front of everybody. And let's be real, some people just need an audience to feel superior. I don't think you should be listening to that individual. I don't think it serves you to be taking advice from them. If someone wants to talk to you one-on-one about something, or ask a question or suggest something, that's fine. But like telling you in front of everybody at the barn, making a scene, I don't like that. We're all just doing our best. No need to humiliate someone. Red flag number 13, normalizing horse fear as respect. A horse being shut down, frozen, withdrawn, that's not respect. It's learned helplessness. And if your horse fears you, I think you are a red flag. Now, of course, there's horses out there that they come from bad backgrounds and they might not be comfortable with you. I'm not talking about those cases. I'm talking about horses that through chronic mistreatment become fearful of the handler. Red flag number 14. Whenever I hear an equestrian say, well, horses need to know who's boss. I appreciate what you're getting at. These are big animals. They need to not get into your personal space, because that could be bad. That could be very dangerous. But at the same time, I think equestrian sports is really about a partnership, which is to say mutual respect. I think you can be a leader without intimidating your horse. They need to know who's boss. I think that's just a phrase people use to excuse rough handling. I am not here for that. And it's a slippery slope, because I know a lot of people, they might start out being too passive with their horse, and then a trainer will come along and be like, you need to be more assertive, and then they don't really know where the line is and they go too far. Just keep in mind, horses are sensitive animals, and if someone's yelling at you, do you shut down and have a hard time learning and taking in new information? You probably do, because you're a human being, and horses, well, they're very similar. It's hard to learn under stress. Red flag number 15 is an equestrian who rushes everything. Now, I totally understand that there are times where you're going to be rushing. We're busy people. Horse people, we have to work because horses are not cheap. So we're usually juggling multiple things whilst trying to keep horses in your life. That's fair, I get it. But people who consistently are rushing the warm-up, rushing the training scale, rushing rehab, rushing young horses, starting them before they're ready, weaning too soon. With horse trainers that are under a lot of pressure, a lot of times they'll rush the horse's progress because they have a deadline that they're expected to meet. To me, if a horse person is always in a hurry with horses, it usually means they're chasing an image, not longevity, or they value results over soundness. And horses are very intuitive, keen animals. They're really excellent at reading your body language. And I think if you're constantly in a rush around them and you're like frantic, it makes them frantic as well. You're like, well, geez, well, what's going on? Like, is something wrong? Every now and then, this is gonna happen when you're out with your horse. It's pretty unavoidable, actually. But every time, I think a reevaluation needs to happen. Well, that's 15, so we'll stop there. I could honestly make a whole nother video with 15 more equestrian red flags. Comment the biggest equestrian red flag you've come across. I want to know if we've all experienced this nonsense or if it's just me. It is validating to know that it's not just me who experiences this kind of thing, but it's also sad that it's so prevalent in the equestrian world. So let me know in the comments. I'd love to connect with you all and hear your stories. For more horse care videos, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.